pandemic which has been happening for the last 6 months, 7 months. And after World War II, what has happened to Japan also we know. So now we have to know what is the lessons that we have to learn from this Japan post World War. So I now request our Chairman, Mr. R.R. Padmanabhan, Foreign Trade and Skill Development Subcommittee of ACC, to please welcome the gathering.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I welcome all the members, former presidents of the Chamber, my colleagues in the Executive Committee, members of the Chamber, distinguished invitees and friends to this webinar on Japanese resurrection post-World War II, lessons for India post-COVID. This is a very important topic for us today because as we are looking forward, so far it's about 5-6 months we're off, and now the reality is biting. In that, as I was talking to Mr. Tomio Isogai some time back, he said, why not we do a program on this? We can. Mr. Tomio Isogai, our association goes back to our visit to Osaka, Japan. That was in the year, I think, 2015, I think. From there on, we have been in close touch. In fact, he was our distinguished guest during one of our convocations of our academy. In fact, he enthralled the audience with his Japan-India connections. That is his specialty. He was, just to give a very short introduction to this, post-World War II, Japanese economy was devastated. Every one of us know, and we ourselves saw all those ruins, all those photographs on our visit to Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 2015. And as if it rose from ashes like a phoenix, Japan rose on to become a world power in economy. So what exactly they did to become like that is a question that needs to be answered. And if it is possible, we can certainly replicate it. That's why we invited Mr. Tomio Isogai, so that he can share with us their country's experiences, that which we can take forward. So just a few statistics. In 1973, Japanese per capita GDP was 95% of that of Britain and 69% of the United States. Of course, that was the last year of the rapid growth area. And then in the year 1991, that bubble economy got shrunk. Still, the Japanese economy is a textbook case of dip down and up, 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 and it continues to be there at that. And few instances from literature we take from Hayashi and Prescott. According to them, the chief factor was an acceleration in the reallocation of resources, especially labor, from the relatively low productive agricultural sector to the non-agricultural sector, which enjoyed higher productivity and per capita income overall. That's a lesson for us. In fact, all our skill development initiatives have been on that score, where the resources are to be reallocated to the most profitable and most productive sectors. And of course, now I don't want to stand between you and Mr. Tomio Isogai. Let us hear about the Japanese resurrection post-World War II and the lessons for us from the resource person of the day, Mr. Tomio Isogai. I once again welcome you all to this webinar. Thank you.
Just to make a brief introduction of the speaker for the interest of the participants here. Mr. Tomio Isogai is a former managing director of Sharp India Limited. He has 37 years career at Sharp Corporation and over 100 years old Japanese electronics giant, who has spent more than 20 years out of Japan, engaged in the global sales and marketing of consumer electronics, domestic appliances, communication devices, office automation products, and solar power generation systems that Sharp manufactures. He truly is a global-minded business leader with diversified experiences in more than 60 countries over the world, residing in 5 countries for more than 25 years, particularly in the emerging markets. Since 2017, Mr. Isogai has been invited to quite a few special events and functions as guest lecturer, as well as to the international conferences, seminars, and symposiums being organized by many academic institutions that include IIT Mumbai, IIT Calcutta, and IIM Indore. From June 2019 till May 2020, Mr. Isogai has been appointed as visiting researcher for the Center of Australian and Asian Studies at Wataman Gaukin University, Osaka, Japan. From July 2019 till June 2020, Mr. Isogai has been appointed as a short-term consultant for National Skill Development Corporation, New Delhi, India, to facilitate and support their TATP and non-TATP programs to enhance their human resource development of the Indian talented youth and to promote the recruitment of them with decent jobs in Japan. As for July, since July, Mr. Isogai has been appointed as adjunct faculty at MIT-ADT, Maharashtra Institute of Technology, Art, Design and Technology in Pune, India, to teach and coach its BBA and MBA students at College of Management. I welcome Mr. Tomio Isogai on behalf of Andhra Chamber once again, and over to you, Mr. Tomio.
Thank you very much, Madam Dr. Indira, President.
No, I am Vijay Lakshmi.
I'm sorry. I was just reading the memo I had. Sorry about that. And thank you, ma'am, anyway, for the introduction. And Mr. Padmanabhan, especially thanks for him and to you because of this relationship and personal connection. It became possible. And this is my, I think, at least second time of this gathering to talk about India-Japan situations. I just hope my talk can give you some takeaways and some benefits and to consider the future of India post-COVID-19. Let me just share my screen. I usually do this kind of, all right, PowerPoint presentation. Okay, the Japanese resurrection post-World War II and lessons for India post-COVID. I will be sharing all my knowledge and experiences only. Obviously, I am not from the generation who has, suffered from the war, but I am surely the inheritant of those generations who fought for the peace. So today's topics of discussion, I will be touching upon the differences and commonness between you Indians and me as Japanese. Number two, the secrets of Japan's recovery after the World War II. This is the main topic of discussion today. Number three, and background of that successful recovery of Japan. What were they? The traditional cultural background we had. Number four, India and Japan. I do believe those two countries can become the strongest partners in the world for a long time. We can also put the world in peace together if we work together. That's my belief. And 11 articles of the Constitution to become a global-minded leader. That is one of the takeaways that you might like to. First thing I'd like to show you and share with you is this world map. This is the world map you are very much familiar with, and many people believe to be Japan as located in the very far east. But that's not mine. That's not what we believe. We do not believe in that because we see the world this way. In this world, the world looks like very different. From our point of view, in the very far east is the New York City here. New York City is the very far east from our point of different perspective. Yes, it is a different perspective. In this world, when we look at this way, India and Japan are much closer than you think. Yes, USA is very far away. And of course, we are in the same brotherhood of Asian countries. Anyway, so this is the first different perspective that I wanted to share with you. Now, second one, I'm showing the demography of India and Japan, how they are different. This is the pyramid, the population pyramid, so-called, in 2015, showing the blue colors are the boys, yellow colors are the girls or women, and the bottom line is 0 age, and top line here is 100 age. So the single bar here, every 5-year step is showing, the length is showing the number of population. So India is a very young country. So the biggest population is coming from the very young age groups from 5 to 15. It was in 2015. Of course, it's changing. It will be changing into the year 2050. It will be projected like this way. The projected Indian population pyramid looks like this in the year 2050, 30 years from today. As you can see, the Indian population now around 131 crore, close to 140 crores, will become maybe 175 crores. This is a big number. I think this is maybe a bit of exaggeration, and this projection may not be right, but anyway, it's a projection. Now I'll be showing a totally different shape of the demographic, pyramid. Now looks like that, and it will be look like that on the right side. This is not even Japan. This is China. The number of population of China, 137 crore, it's almost 140 now already. It's #1 populated country in the whole world. It will become less than that in 30 years from today. It will be only 135 crores. So India will become far biggest populated country in the whole world, far biggest, #1. And you don't need any extra efforts for that. It can become, it's a natural thing, all right? Without any extra special efforts, you will become #1 populated country in the whole world. And #2 will be China. And the demographic shape is very different. Now I will show Japan, how it looks. Japan in 2015 looked like this. It's just like China in 30 years from now. So after 30 years from today, it will be looking like this. India 50, 2050, it will be like this. Wow, look at this shape. Too much of the population in the aged group and too narrow, small number of population in the younger age groups. See, the biggest population group here is 75 years to 80 years old. Wow. So this is going to be 30 years from now today. The number of population, 127 million. So 13 crores down to 11 crores only. Now, don't ask me why Japan is looking like this. Japan is projected like this. It's a different topic of discussion. I'm not going to discuss that. There are certain social issues there in Japan, okay? But more importantly, we need to take a close look at those generations from 15 years to 65 or 64 years of age, which is believed to be the productive population. That's a spend and support all the rest of the population. So if this productive population is getting smaller and smaller, and in dependent population is bigger and bigger, then the society will have a big issue. So Japan is looking like that. So Japan is in desperate need of young manpower. Japan is trying to develop all robotics and AI, which can replace human labor or manpower. But it is impossible to cover all the areas. So we do have, and we will have, a lot of shortages in manpower in the future of Japan. On the other hand, India will have more and more young people coming out from the academic field. More educated people are coming out to the society. And they may be struggling to find the decent jobs. Maybe. I'm talking about 30 years. So India and Japan, another big difference is here. Totally different, perspective is here. Japan, there are jobs, but no workers, no laborers, no manpower. India, opposite side maybe. So I expect we need to work together and we can fill out, the both and solve the both issues. It is going to be a win-win situation from now on to a long time. Okay, so those are the differences that I showed, just a few examples, but actually there are many common things that we can share between you Indian people and we Japanese people. I will be showing some of the examples only. Yes, Buddhism is the first one. It was born in India and spread out, brought up very widely in Japan. Everywhere you go, north, east, west, south, you will find Buddhist temples here and there, just like you find Hindu temples here and there. Same thing is happening in Japan for the Buddhism. This is the largest statue of Buddha in Nara Prefecture, where I belong, where I used to be. And this is the Buddha inaugurated by the Indian monk, Bodhisena. He is believed to be the first Indian visitor to Japan in the 8th century. He lived his rest of his life in Japan. I went to his tomb to pray for his soul. Actually, it is buried in Nara Prefecture, the same place where I belong, right? It has 18 meters high, 18 meters high. It's a gigantic, big, largest statue of Buddha in the world. Second, we Japanese people also worship nature as gods. It's a tradition. Traditional Japanese religion is called Shinto. Shinto, you may have heard about that. Buddhism was an imported religion, but Shinto was originated from Japan. And we both, many of the people, interestingly, please, Japanese people worship nature as gods as Shinto, and worship Buddha as Buddhism as well. Both ways. Many of the Japanese people do like this because Japan and Japanese people accept and respect all religions. Yes. So this is a Shinto symbol, a symbolic Shinto. See, that those two rocks are symbol of gods. We worship nature, trees, rocks, rivers, mountains. All these, we believe God is there to protect us all the time. So this is a rock in the seashore. The bigger rock is husband. This small rock is his wife. They are connected by the sacred rope. See, this is the symbol of the Shintoism. So we people go and just to see and pray for gods in front of those rocks even. So isn't that something similar to Hinduism? I feel that, yes, you worship nature as gods. All right, these are the sacred couple rocks. Now, the three wise monkeys that you may have heard about, I believe many of you know about those three wise monkeys. Hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil. I heard from many Indian people, friends of mine, they told me, it was talked by Mahatma Gandhi ji. Yes, I think so. But look at this. This picture is from Japan. This picture is taken out from one of the shrines. Shrines is a Shinto shrine in Japan. Hundreds of years before Mahatma Gandhi ji talking about those three wise monkeys, it was already there in Japan. Yes, speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. Yes, Mahatma Gandhi ji surely talked about those three wise monkeys. Yes, but it was already there in Japan. And Mahatma Gandhi ji is standing in Tokyo. This is the Suginami Library, Tokyo. You can find him. He is welcoming all the time, 24 hours, all the visitors. Look at those three statues of God and Goddess. They are from one Buddhist temple in Hiroshima Prefecture. Aren't they familiar to you? Those are the God and Goddess, named Benzaiten, Kangiten, and Tamonten. They are Japanese names, but they are all imported God and Goddess. Yes, from India. Saraswati on the left, Ganesha on the center, and Kubera on the right. Those are all originated from India and worshipped today in Japan. And Ganesha is just one of the deities worshipped in Japan derived from India. Actually, there are many, many more. Many more deities and gods worshipped in Japan even today. There are more than 200 Ganesha, dedicated Ganesha temples in Japan, where people are worshiping and praying for Ganesha. Isn't that nice to know? Many people, they don't know about it. And many Japanese people who worship this Kangiten, the Ganesha, they don't know if it is a Ganesha or not, because it is known as the Japanese god, Kangiten, but it is Ganesha. All right, so those are the common things that I shared today. So there is a spiritual commonness between you and us. That is a very important bond, very spiritual, fundamental bond we have in common. Now, the main topic of today. In 1979, a book was published by a professor at Harvard University, USA. The book was titled very, very sensational, Japan as number one. But please look at the subtitle here, just below it. Lessons for America. Yes, this book was teaching Americans how Japan recovered from the ashes. But let's take a look at the real side, the fact. Japan as number one never was. In fact, Japan made number 2 position in terms of GDP over West Germany at that time, and only next to USA in 1968. In 1968. Just remember when the World War II ended. If you just remember that. Yes, it was 1945. It was 1945, August 15. Japan surrendered to the Allies. And that was the end of the war. So 15th of August is a very important day for us too, just as for you too. 15th of August is your Independence Day. But 15th of August for us is the end of the World War II, Memorial Day. So we don't celebrate it, but we remember those people who fought for the peace and fought for the nation. Same day, 15th August, you celebrate your independence, and we remember those people who have died for the war. So that's another coincidence, actually. Hiroshima, in 1945, it was made all ashes. And now it has rebuilt. It has been rebuilt as a very modern city. You may not imagine the bomb was here. You may not imagine unless you go to the Peace Memorial Museum. The book, by the way, the Japan as #1 was talking about those things. And the author was telling you this. The island nations development into one of the world's most effective industrial powers in terms of not only economic productivity, but also its ability to govern efficiently, to educate its citizens, to control crime, and to alleviate energy shortages and to lessen pollution. So it covers all aspects of society. Now, I'm not going to talk about this book, but let me talk to you some of the secrets that I experienced as an inheritant from the previous generation who fought for the war, all right? Some of the secrets that I felt myself of the successful recovery of Japan were those things. Number one, hardworking. I was also very hard worker without considering how much overtime pay I was supposed to get. I didn't care about that. Number two, obey all the set rules. That is a basic common virtue of life in Japan. Number three, punctual to schedule. Punctuality in Japan is amazing. Punctuality in Japan means punctual to the minute, not to the minutes. See the difference? Even 1 minute delay is not really allowed sometimes. It's not really welcome. Even 1 minute delay is a big issue in many cases in Japan. There are 2 meetings in every corporation or the government offices. Chore, the morning meeting. There is one morning meeting and there is another evening meeting every day by every team on a daily basis so that they share all the information, all right? What to do today, what are the importance today, what is the priority today. And then at the end of the day, they come back together and meet them together and confirm and check what happened today. So it's everyday step, very productive step of work. Every morning, they know what to do today. In the afternoon or in the evening, they confirm and check what has happened actually and what will be carried over for tomorrow. Every day, everybody, and very transparent. Another thing, as a secret of successful recovery from Japan, was the intensive planning and its implementation on schedule. Japanese people are very well known as a deep planner, detailed, detailist. They plan anything, every single detail. Who does what, till when, how much, like this. See? Once the planning is done by individual levels, it will become the corporate level. So it will take some time to get that planning done, but it is very much detailed. So everybody knows what to do. So once it is, yes, good, and go ahead. is if once the plan is approved and authorized, then everybody got on schedule. They know what to do immediately. This is a great thing. In many of the cases I see in India, big bosses make some decisions and we'll do this, we'll do that. Then many people, they don't know what to do. What shall I do? They are waiting for the instructions. But in Japan, that doesn't happen because everybody knows what to do because it is all planned from the beginning. Number two. Oh, sorry, next one. Horenso is one single word, but three words into one and combined with PDCA cycle. You may have heard about PDCA, it's in English. Plan, do, check, and act. Plan, and then do, and check, and act, react. See, it's a PDCA cycle, but in Japan, there are three words, three important words here. Ho, ren, so. Ho means hokoku, reporting. Renraku means informing. And sodan means consulting. So it's a three steps. You have to make a report to your boss, you have to inform to your boss, and you have to consult with your boss every day for any single issue comes up. So it's a process of management. That's another secret behind those success stories. TQC, the total quality control, you may know about that. And 5S and Kaizen, those two Japanese words are very much well known in the manufacturing sector. Even in India, I really got surprised. Many Japanese, Indian manufacturers, they already implement 5S and Kaizen on a daily basis. Yes, I will be touched upon a little bit more about this. Teamwork rather than standing play by individuals. Teamwork rather than standing play by individuals. This is very, very important word and keyword for India to grow. Why? Because I do not see much of teamwork happening here. Because so much of competition, too much of competition, even a guy next to each other, they are competitors, they think. So they cannot cooperate. They cannot help each other. They don't feel like helping each other, collaborating each other, cooperating each other, working together in a team to grow up together. I don't think it's happening here, unfortunately, because of too much people, too much competition. I understand, and too much diversity as well. It is not like Japan. Japan is a homogeneous country. Homogeneous country, same race, same people, same language, they all get together, easy to understand, easy to communicate, easy to collaborate. Yes, that was another secret of Japan, how they recovered so quickly. Oh, I forgot to tell you, because in 1968, Japan became #2 economy, and the World War II ended in 1945. Just calculate how many years later, Japan has made #2 economy in the world. Just calculate simply. It's less than 3 decades. It's less than 3 decades. One generation, just one generation made Japan from the ashes to become #2 economy in the world. Yes, of course, with the help and support by USA. Okay. Consensus decision-making is another point of Japan's success. Consensus decision-making means what? All the managers or directors involved in the management, they come together and discuss and make a decision. No one man, no big boss will make a decision. No. Even a big boss may suggest something to do, but the decision has to be consensus, in consensus. There is a ring system. I'm not going to talk about this ring system. It's some complication to discuss. That's why I'm not talking, but it's a decision-making process that consensus building first, and all the people must agree to one decision. It never be made by one big boss. Never happens in Japan. lifetime employment. This is another secret behind the successful recovery. I'm a good example now. I'm a very good example. I've been working for Sharp Corporation, as long as 37 years until my retirement, right? Our official retirement is at the age of 60. So till that age, I worked for that company since my graduation from the college. How's that? So I was totally loyal to the company. I was totally dedicated to the company. I was devoted to my time and energy and knowledge and passion to one company. That makes the strength, don't you believe? And not just me, everybody else the same. Just imagine that. Why such thing can happen? Because of this, the job rotations given to me and progressive promotion system was granted to me. Yes, whenever I got assignment of one job, if I did a good job, I got some promotion. I got, some elevation of the ladder. And I got a new assignment, which is more challenging. And I took it. If I took it well, and if I did it well, then another promotion given to me, another challenge given to me, proposed to me. I took it every time. So it was just a continuation of the job rotations and progressive promotion system that helped one like me to grow up in the ladder and step up myself. I think this can become a good weapon to grow for every single person. Okay, so those are the major secrets behind the success that I could, experience. And let's just talk a little bit about those 5S and Kaizen. 5S are the 5 words, Japanese words, starting from S. That's why we call it 5S. Seiri, Seiton, Seiso, Seiketsu, and Shitsuke. Those are the 5S, what we call. And this is a very simple but very fundamental, keywords to perform a great productivity and enhance the level of quality in the manufacturing sectors. Yes, it is very well known. And the first 4 of general thing, and the last Shitsuke is a self-discipline. So it's a self-control. Self-discipline is the driver to make other 4s to go and work. Kaizen, it's a combination of 2 words in Japanese. Kai means change. Zen means the better. So Kaizen means continuous improvement. And those are the 2 very famous and fundamental keywords for success in manufacturers, right? I can talk more about this, but on this topic, let's just to be brief. One thing I like to tell you, another secret of Japan's success is this. In all primary schools in Japan, there is a time slot for cleaning done by the pupils every day. Every single day, all the kids at school are doing the cleaning in their classrooms. Teachers' desk, the blackboards or green boards, and sweeping the floors. Every day by everybody, not even single person can be neglected. Every single person should participate, and they enjoy it. Look at them, they are enjoying it. See, they are enjoying the teamwork, and they are being trained how to build up a teamwork. They enjoy doing together, and they learn how to work together, and they learn how to build up a team, right? That's another secret. Now let me ask you, how can India get serious about Swachh Bharat? If you are serious about this, you may need to change the way in many ways, from your home, from the schools, from the society. Yes. But I've been talking to you all the secrets behind the successful recovery of Japan. But I have to tell you something very important. Very important. And this is a secret behind the secrets. Every secret has a secret behind. And I mean, I'm telling you this. So please, please keep it secret with you. The strongest motive behind such a recovery of Japan in such a short period of time was this: the desire to catch up with American lifestyle. Yes, it was this. Because when I was a kid, see, when I was a kid, like 8 years old, that's when the broadcast of TV broadcasting started at that time. The new generation nowadays, they cannot imagine that. But in my generation, when only I was 7 or 8 years old, the TV broadcast started, and there were only 2 channels government run. Very boring. You can imagine that. Very boring 2 channels, right? And the government started to import some entertainment programs for the younger generation. Entertainment programs for younger generation for me. It was all imported from the America only. So as a kid, I was watching the American movie, American drama, American cartoons like Bugs Bunny, Popeye the Sailor Man, Tom and Jerry, Disney World, and so forth. See? So watching the American entertainment programs, I was watching the American life. Wow, how luxury it is. See, the big house, big garden, big cars, big refrigerator, right? Everything was so big. I was living in a small house, so I felt like hunger. Why don't we get that kind of life, right? This is a big hunger that created in my mind, right? It's just like you see the Japanese cartoon, just Japanese movies, Japanese cartoons like Doraemon. You are watching Doraemon cartoon, Japanese anime, and you are watching Japanese life, Japanese style of life, right? How they are eating noodles and eating rice and so forth, using the chopsticks and so forth. You are watching Doraemon and you are watching the Japanese life. Same thing happened to me, but I was watching the American life. What a luxury they have, right? And after growing up some years later, I learned Americans dropped 2 bombs to us. Americans dropped 2 bombs and destroyed 2 cities, devastated. Then there was an anger in my mind, right? How come Americans did that and enjoying such a luxury life here? Right? So it was a hunger on one hand, anger on the other hand. Those 2 combination was the real motive for all Japanese people like me to work hard to get that American type of life. See? So that was the very hidden, but very, very important factor that we cannot neglect. And this was a secret behind the secret. So keep it your secret, because nobody would tell you. I'm only disclosing it to you secretly. So officially, everybody will tell you why Japan could make such a quick recovery from the ashes. Everybody will tell you this only. It was a teamwork spirit. We worked together. We worked hard together, helped each other, and grow together. So, for example, know-how sharing, tutoring each other. Know-how sharing means I will tell you something that I know and you don't know, but you tell me something you know and I don't know. So it's a give and take. Let's help each other to grow faster. This should happen here in India as well. It's not easy. I know that. It's not easy. But once you do that, India grows much faster, I'm sure. So know-how sharing and tutoring from the mind should happen. Now, changing the subject, do you know how old is Japan? Do you know how old is Japan since its inception as a country, as a nation? I tell you, Japan is a country of emperor, right? As a monarch, it's an emperor. Emperor, the first emperor was throned, it is believed to be, in the year 660 BC, before Christ. So Japan is believed to be 2,680 years old country. And one emperor and his family and all the descendant is still till today, the emperor of today, Naruhito, Emperor Naruhito, is the descendant from the first emperor Jimmu, 2,700 years ago. I do not believe there is any other country in the world which has more than 2,000 years long. Japan is the only country which lasted and still lasting since 2,000 plus years. This is one of the pride in our heart. Yes. So in our history, there are some important backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, how Japan has made such a recovery in such a short period of time. This is one good example. This is a Japanese yen note. Japanese yen note, a little older, not current one, but a little older one. Japanese 10,000 yen note here, the bill. In India, the rupees are showing the portrait of Mahatma Gandhiji because he's a very important person. Same here, this portrait is showing a very important person in our history, who is Prince Shotoku. He is not an emperor, he is the Prince Shotoku. And he appeared in the Japanese yen, the bill notes, more than 50 years long. More than 50 years long, he appeared in all the Japanese yens, see, currency. So he was a very important person in our history. Prince Shotoku he has made and compiled and published the first Japanese constitution in the year 604 AD. There were 17 articles in this constitution, and very basic principle adopted in this constitution was very important for you to know. What was the concept or very basic principle adopted in this first Japanese constitution in the year 604? It was called wa. Wa is a Japanese word meaning harmony, solidarity, and unity. So this is the spirit of Japanese people. We say something like washoku. Sorry about these Japanese words, huh? Washoku, first one, and second one, wafu, and third one is wayaku. Wa, Japanese food, Japanese style, Japanese translation. So if you look at this blue color, wa means Japanese. Yes, wa equals Japan. So wa means harmony, solidarity, and unity. That's the symbol of Japan. It is the subconsciously shared and commonly shared philosophy and principle by all the Japanese people. It is the origin of the ethics of the Japanese. So I believe in the same way, I think Indian people can find some common basic philosophy or concept or principle of being an Indian. I think you can find something like that. What is Bushido? Have you heard about Bushido? Maybe not. Bushido is in Japanese, but in the English, way of the warrior. It is a code of conduct of the samurai. Samurai, I think you have heard about, right? Samurai is like bushi, same thing. The bushi and samurai is the same word. See? So it's a warrior's code of conduct. See? So Bushido is the way of the warriors. It's a code of conduct for the samurais. So it was the ethical, basic ethics of the Japanese society. It was made too much contribution to Meiji Restoration when Japan opened up their country in 1868, when Americans came to force us to open up the country, right? And this Bushido is still commonly known as in the martial arts. Some of the ways to behave, attitude, you know, those are controlled and disciplined by this Bushido. Now I will show you and share with you what was the 8 virtues in Bushido. It's a code of moral principles. Okay, there are important 8 virtues in the Bushido. Number 1, rectitude or justice. Number 2, courage. Number 3, benevolence. Number 4, politeness. Number 5, veracity and sincerity. Number 6, honor. Number 7, loyalty. Number 8, self-control. So those are the 8 values or virtues, you know, depicted in the Bushido that was prevailing in the very commonly to the Japanese society. And in the Meiji Restoration and Meiji period, there was an imperial rescript. Emperor has announced some policy, just like, you know, just like the national education policy that Indian government just announced just recently. It's like a national education policy that we had in the Meiji era, which was called imperial rescript, or in Japanese language, kyoiku chokugo. It looks like this. It's a very simple and very short announcement. In this short announcement, there were 12 virtues. Actually, there were 12 virtues in this short imperial message. Okay, be filial to your parents. Be affectionate to your brothers and sisters. As husband and wives, be harmonious. There is a harmony. Number 4, as friends as true. Number 5, bear yourselves in modesty and moderation. Number 6, extend your benevolence to all. Number 7, pursue learning and cultivate arts. Number 8, develop intellectual faculties. Number 9, perfect moral powers. Number 10, advance public good, promote common interest. Respect the Constitution and observe the laws. And last, in emergency, offer yourselves to the state or nation. So those are the 12 virtues announced by the emperor. The importance is emperor is, you know, giving the guidelines to the people how to behave and how to develop in themselves. Interestingly, I found in the West, in the Western world, I found a book, probably, I'm not very sure, but probably inspired by those virtues in Japan. Okay, I found this book. Some of you may have seen it or heard about it. The Book of Virtues. The Book of Virtues, printed in UK, you know, in 1993. In this book, this is used in the educational academic field to teach the younger generation. in this book, there are 10 virtues, all right? Most probably, I believe, inspired by Japan. Number one, self-discipline, compassion, responsibility, friendship, work, courage, perseverance, honesty, loyalty, and faith. So those are the 10 virtues I could find in the Western book. This is for your information. All right. See, I was working for Sharp Corporation. This was a business creed of Sharp and Sharp India Limited. See, here you see the sincerity is here, one virtue, sincerity and creativity. Sharp Corporation was dedicated to two principal ideals. Those are the two, sincerity and creativity. And there are 5 virtues here. There are 5 virtues that every single Japanese Sharp employee should follow, right? In this, sincerity, harmony, politeness, creativity, and courage. See, those are very much commonly found in the previous slides, right? So all those are traditions from ourselves. Look at this. The harmony is there. Harmony is number 2 here. So it's a kind of common virtues that we shared, the historical background. Okay, I wanted to tell you this, why Japan could make such a quick and miraculous recovery from the ashes, because everybody fight against, you know, the situation, the devastation. They fight against the situation, and they, you know, helped each other, collaborated each other, and trying to build up the new nation from the ashes. Now, I'd like to share something about WGIP. WGIP is this, War Guilt Information Program. The War Guilt Information Program was infused by the American GHQ, General Headquarters. And it's a program designed to brainwash the Japanese to instill a feeling of guilt regarding the war. See, it was America's initiative. In addition to concealing the America's responsibility for the war, this program aimed at to crush the morale of Japanese people so that Japan would never, ever resist against the United States of America. Furthermore, there was some media restrictions enforced by a press code, made it impossible to criticize anything against, you know, the Japan and some of the things happening there at that time. Many Japanese people were instilled before with a feeling of guilt towards the war, believing that Japan was an evil nation that invaded other countries. This is not true. Japan invaded other Asian countries because Japan wanted to save the local people from the colonialism by the West, right? You know that. Japan never tried to invade any other Asian countries to conquer, right? No, it was just for the sake of relieving, okay, freeing those Asian brothers from the colonialism from the West. See? The good proof is that after the World War II, many Asian and African countries have got independence, right? Japan provoked that, yes. In a sense, Japan provoked those changes. The spiritual cohesiveness of Japanese people was crushed by the methodical actions by this WGIP to disparage the tradition and history that were the source of national pride. Eventually, it succeeded to completely dispel patriotism, to instigate distrust towards government leaders amongst citizens, and to divide public opinion by encouraging communist activity under the name of democracy. It was so bad. It was so bad influence given by this WGIP controlled by the Americans. See? And I'd like to share about the Japanese Constitution. We, the Japanese people, they desire peace for all time and are deeply conscious of high ideals controlling human relationship. And we have determined to preserve our security and existence, trusting in the justice and faith of the peace-loving peoples of the world. And I read the red colors only. We recognize that all peoples of the world have the right to live in peace, free from fear and want. See, this is the introduction of the Japanese Constitution. But the Japanese Constitution, article number 9 says this. It was forced by the Americans, okay? Article number 9 of the Japanese Constitution is a clause in the National Constitution of Japan outlawing, prohibiting war as a means to settle international disputes involving a state. The Constitution came into effect May 1947, just before your independence, following the World War II. In its text, the state formally renounces the sovereign right to belligerency and aims at an international peace based on the justice and order. The article also states that to accomplish these aims, armed forces with war potential will not be maintained or allowed. The Constitution was imposed by the United States in the post-World War II period. Do you know how many times Japanese Constitution was amended? Can you imagine how many times Japan's Constitution have been amended so far till today? I know Indian Constitution has been amended more than 100 times. Is that right? Correct? Yeah, right, thank you. Japan's Constitution, since its inception 1947, never ever, 0 times, never ever amended. And this article number 9, talking about the military power, defense ability, was restricted, totally restricted by the Americans, and they never got amended. Many Japanese people wanted to amend this clause, and Mr. Abe, the Prime Minister Abe, Shinzo Abe was also one of them. He wanted to change and amend this article number 9 to able Japan to protect themselves by themselves, right? Defend by themselves. But it was not possible, and he resigned. So here is a very recent article here. Last week, Shinzo Abe, who served as Prime Minister of Japan longer than any of his predecessors, resigned due to his health concerns. Mr. Abe's overall legacy is mixed. His economic policies probably played a constructive role in ending the hangover of his country's lost decades, 3 decades. But he was in other respects a controversial leader, especially because of his long-standing goal of amending Japan's constitution imposed on the country by the Supreme Allied Commander Douglas MacArthur after the World War II. He's the American leader and commander, right? He controlled the constitution of Japan, and that still is valid today. All right, now let me talk about Japan and India relationship. We have established a very special strategic and global partnership. It's not just a bilateral relationship, it's a global partnership we have come up, all right? Now, some of the takeaways for your people, especially for the young people here today listening to me. Here are some special takeaways for you. What I believe, the 4 strong elements, 4 important key elements to make a strong team. From my point of view, number 1, T for transparency. Without transparency, no single team can work. Sometimes it will collapse. If you keep your secret, keep it with you only. Don't disclose it to somebody. Number 2, E for empowerment. Empowerment of the people is very important because no leader can control everybody. If there are 50 people in a team, you cannot control all of them. You need to empower some people you trust. A for appreciation and acknowledgement. If any people from your team has done a great job, you have to appreciate the person and acknowledge that person in front of everybody. Okay? And M for, yes, you can guess right, motivation. Without motivation, nobody can work harder for you. Everybody can work harder for oneself, but nobody will work harder for somebody else without any motivation. So motivation, why you're working for this, why you are doing this, motivation is very, very, very important. Okay? Now, what are the 6 key elements to become a strong leader? From my experience and from my point of view, those are the 6 elements to make a strong leader. This is the second takeaway for you. L for logical thinking. E for eloquent speech. A for ambitious vision. D for dynamic approach. E, the second E, for empathetic personality. And the last one, R, yes, you guessed right, responsible action. The leader should be responsible for any actions that your people did. All right, so those are the 6 elements to become a strong leader from my experience and point of view. There is nothing in the book. This is only from my experience. Okay, last but not least, the 11 articles of Constitution to become a global leader, global-minded leader. Number 1, speak good English to get high esteem. Number 2, knowledge serves only when used in practice. Number 3, illogical statements will never get understood. Number 4, passion can only get you touched by others' mind. You have to have a passion to talk. Number 5, respect your partner to establish mutual trust. Yes, without trust, without respect, there is no trust. Number 6, emotion will not help you lead to correct decision. Number 7, if not exceeding your limit, there is no growth. Number 8, courage can help you find the unknown answer. The business is like that. Number 9, challenge in new ways to create changes. Number 10, challenge without prejudice can only make sense. Number 11, last but not least, without working alone will never get you expected result. Again, teamwork will make you, right? Nobody can work alone to accomplish any goal. All right. Now, we were talking about 3 wise monkeys, yes, but look at this carefully. Please look at this carefully. Roots of Gandhi's 3 wise monkeys. I found an article. In this article, Japanese, Japan, Japanese, Japan, in Japan, in Japan, Japanese, and Japanese. So we found this article as a proof that Mahatma Gandhiji's talks about 3 wise monkeys has a relationship. Actually, in this article, it says here, think positive, listen positive, and speak positive. This is the true meaning of what Mahatma Gandhiji wanted to tell the people. All right, now look at this, please. Look at this, please, carefully. Please look at this carefully, right? You may not be seeing any evil. You may not be hearing any evil. You may not be speaking any evil, but you may be following and sharing all the evils, right? This is a trap. this is the big trap for the young people, young generation today. I like to propose, let's forget about those wise monkeys, because they are no longer wise, because they are talking about evils only. But in the ancient wisdom of Rigveda, ancient Rigveda tells you this, Ano Badra Krata Boyantu Bishvata. See, this means make good thoughts come to us from all directions. And look at those monkeys. Those monkeys are speak out, listen up, and see it all. Completely opposite of the wise monkeys. I am now proposing you all to become those 3 monkeys starting from today, what we call the 3 smart monkeys. 3 smart monkeys to become starting from today. See, let's forget about 3 wise monkeys. They're talking about evils only. No more Hiroshima, no more Nagasaki. We can work together. India has not invaded any other territories, right? India is a peace-loving nation. Japan is another peace-loving nation, never conquered by anybody, never invaded by anybody, and just only victim of the atomic bombs. So we love peace. We wish peace. Indians love and wish for the peace as well. We can work together. And India is like a miniature of all the world, having all the issues here, all the conflicts here. If you overcome all those conflicts within India, it is going to be the proof and model for the entire world. That's what I believe. So we can work together to make India as a peaceful country, peaceful nation, and prove, yes, the world can be a peaceful place. India and Japan, we can work together and make it happen and show it to the world that we can make the world in peace. Okay? So let's build a very strong partnership for our prosperous and peaceful future. Thank you so much for your kind attention. The young people, young generation can change the world, can change the future, right? Let's do that. Thank you so much for your attention. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think, Mr. Padmanabhan, there are some questions. Audio.
Yeah, please go ahead, madam. Ask those questions to Tomio-san.
Yeah, sir, Mr. Jairaj has sent a question saying that Mr. Isogai wasn't Japan strong economically, militarily, and industrially before World War II. Isn't Japanese resurgence after the war attributable to the strength before 1939? Mr. Isogai, what more could India expect from the new PM of Japan? So 3 questions in one.
Well, 3 questions. Yeah, Japan was getting stronger and stronger. After the Meiji Restoration, Japan followed the West. See, for the first time, Japan adopted all the Western things. You know, the whole lifestyle has been Westernized, and they have made some importation from the Western world for the arms and land from, particularly from the British, UK. And Japan was allied with the British UK, just before the Japan-Russia war. If you remember, Japan has won the war over the Russia. Why? Because we have the allied with the British. Okay, they helped us, our armies and all the weapons. See? So it was, yes, true. Japan was also getting stronger and stronger even before the World War II. Yes. And second question, attribute to the strengths before 19. Yeah, there was a yeah, because of that, before the World War II, we have built some country with the flow of industry and all the innovations, imported from the West and developed so much faster. So it was the attribution, yes, yes. And the new Prime Minister of Japan, it is an interim Prime Minister, so I don't expect much from the new Prime Minister, but the real new Prime Minister will be being elected next year. Next year, September, will be the next period of the new Prime Minister, when the people will make a new election for the Prime Minister. That new Prime Minister, I really hope that he makes, or she makes, maybe, the big allies with the strong bond with India, because I do believe India and Japan can make the strongest partners from many angles. See, we have never been fighting each other. Once India and Japan was allies, at the end of the World War II, in the Impal operation in the Northeast India, in Manipur, we were allies. Yeah, the Indian and Japanese fought against the Britishers together. So we are the same, in the same team. And spiritually, the Buddhism and the Hinduism, from the same source, if I can say that. So we commonly share many spiritualism, So I think India and Japan, no other country in the world can become such a strong bonding, right? No other country in the world, right? I think that can answer the question. Please, next, please.
Sir, can I ask one question? Madam, please.
Yes, sir, sure, sir, please.
Sir, I am Shivaraman. I am Padmanabhan's classmate. We met once in his convocation.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir. Sir, actually, we are bag manufacturer, big bag manufacturer in India. 1,000 kilo, 2,000 kilo pack, big jumbo bags we manufacture and export to different countries. We export to almost all countries in the world except Japan.
Okay.
Till now, Japan have never purchased any bags from any Indian company.
Okay.
India produces 42% of the world market. No, we produce 40% of the world market from India to different countries: Europe, USA, Africa, Australia. But not even a single company buying bags from Japan. We are not able to penetrate. No, the Japanese, they are not changing. Even you didn't change your constitution from 1947. You are not changing the supplier also.
No, that's not
so
true.
how to penetrate?
That's not true. That is changeable, of course. But the Japanese market is a very peculiar market, not like Western world. It's a very peculiar market with a high sense of consciousness in quality.
Yeah.
The cheap price or cost is not the number one factor. The quality is number one factor for their choice.
So we are not compromising on the quality. We follow 5S from 2008 in our company.
Okay, okay.
We follow 5S in our company. We have 1,400 people working in the company.
If you show me your products, I can tell you why it's not Japan. I can tell you, if you show me some of your products.
Okay.
If I can examine the quality of each one of them, then I'll tell you why Japan is not liking it.
Siva, please send me the designs. I will connect you with the Tomio so that you can exchange the.
It's not just design. It's not just design. The feel, how you feel like, smell, everything counts.
So not even a single company supplying bags to Japan. But we produce 40% of the world production.
I didn't know that, but there must be some alternative source of supply. That's why.
They're not changing. They are telling we won't change.
They will change if you supply better product. Yes. Question is there.
Okay. We think we are producing a good quality bags, but
good quality from the Japanese standard may be different from the Indian standard.
No, we are talking about the international standard only.
International standard does not apply to Japan. That's why
Anyway.
I've been telling you.
Yeah, I can understand.
Very peculiar specific country. The market is different.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Next.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions from the participants?
Professor from Malaysia.
Any questions?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I'm Dr. Vilas Panse calling from Pune.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
good evening.
Sir, we have last 7 years we are producing the we have developed the biodegradable plastic. The normal plastic takes around 300 years to decompose. Now all the labs in India have certified that these bags can be decomposed, they can be composted in a period less than 2 years. We are making the bags in India right now, and we are trying to supply it to the Indian market also. But do you think that there could be a chance to supply biodegradable plastic
Yes.
to Japan?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, fine. I'm calling from Pune. I got
I'm in
this
Pune too.
information about this
I'm
webinar from. Yeah.
He's also in Pune.
Okay, great.
I
So
live in Pune, yes.
I got a reference from my friend from Rotary, Dr. Deepak Shikarpur. Yeah, he gave me the reference of this webinar, so I am attending this webinar.
Okay,
And
please get in touch with me, please.
Sure, sir. How can I get in touch with you, sir?
I
The
will share.
organizer will tell you.
Yeah,
Mr.
Dr.
Panse, we can send you his contact details so that you can get in touch with him. We have his email ID. I can share that mail ID to you so you can get in touch with him, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yes, I'm Shashikant Sukla and I'm a student.
Okay.
So currently I was reading that book and it was based on a Japanese secret of longevity and happiness and Ikigai. The book name is Ikigai. So, and as you mentioned about this culture and the commonality between us, so I had one question, like we are talking about there is we can become the best countries who can collaborate together for peace. But now in current scenario, there is a common threat that is China. This threat is for both of us. So we both peace-loving country, how can come together and counter this common threat?
I don't know what to say, but you talked about Ikigai, this book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can do another, lecture about this book if you like. That's another opportunity for me to talk about because it's a secret. It says the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. The Japanese secret for long and happy life. There's another lecture I can do if you like. To your question, I don't know how to answer. What specific field you are asking about it? There are many aspects now. There are many aspects. How to compete against China? It's just simple. If you work with us, Japan and India can work together much closer, and we learn each other from each other. All right. Japanese standard, Japanese quality standard, Japanese way of manufacturing, Japanese way of management. All these good points and benefits that you can learn from Japan. And India has one excellent ability, an excellent ability which we don't have. Do you know what it is? Mr. Shukla?
Demographic dividend?
No. You have the ability that we don't have. It's a kind of skill. It's a kind of skill that Indian have, but we don't. We Japanese don't. What is it?
Language, sir?
Sorry?
Language?
Language is yes. Yeah, that's true.
We can learn many languages.
Very true.
Genetically, we learn many languages.
You are very much, talented in languages. Yes, that's for sure, without a doubt. But something I'm telling you as an ability that you have and we don't have is jugaad.
Ah, Jugaad.
Jugaad. It's a flexibility. It's an adaptability. See, this kind of flexibility, adaptability, see, we don't have. That's why we are, we are losing against competition from China. Okay? But you can have this ability if we work together, okay, learning from Japan, the standard and higher quality levels, and Indian jugaad, which is a flexibility, see,
Adaptability.
Combination of those two can make the best manufacturer in the world and to compete against China. China has won Japan, number one, manufacturers in the whole world. Why? Because they have also jugaad. They have jugaad. They learn from Japan all the standards, quality assurance, everything, and they adopted their jugaad concept into this, right? So they made things very cheaper. Japan could not do that because we don't have the concept of jugaad. But India can do, and we work together. We can develop the strongest manufacturing here in India and to compete against China and to export all over the world. That's another reason why I'm saying Japan and India should work together and make the strongest partners. This is the only way you can compete against China. Without help of Japan, you may not be able to compete against China because they are far ahead already. You can catch up with the help of Japan. That's what I'm promoting. My hurdle and challenge is those Japanese people are not willing to come to India yet, but now they're changing because of the China situation, because of the pandemic, because of this situation now forced us to change our mindset. We cannot depend totally on China for future. We cannot depend on China anymore. So we have to shift some of the powers that we have, driven in the Chinese market. We have to now shift to Western bound, which is including India. And India should become the #1 economy in the world someday within your generation, maybe not in my generation, but within your generation as a young person, within your generation, India should become #1 economy in the world. I believe in this. But for that, you need to work together with Japan. That's my theory.
Agree. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Any other questions? There are no questions, Mr. Padmanabhan.
Yeah, no questions.
Can we conclude?
Yeah, can.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
permit me to share the screen so that I can.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sure, sir. I request Mr. Thank you very much, Mr. Tomio, for this enriching session and
Very welcome.
session for you in the comments we filed. And thank you so much. And it was a very enlightening session, giving us the commonalities between India and Japan, and how we can strengthen the ties to compete better. And we also have to take a lot of concepts from here for this to empower us to be away from this COVID. And I request Mr. Padmanabhan to please give him the e-memento on behalf of the chamber. And actually our president, Dr. V.L. Indra was supposed to join, and she had some urgent other meetings, so she could not join in the last minute. But she wants, however, convey her wishes to Mr. Padmanabhan and you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Padmanabhan, can you?
Yeah, please enable me to share the screen.
Madhu.
I'll be very happy to come back to this chamber to talk about any specific topics.
We look forward to sir.
Yes. Today's talk was just an overview.
Yeah. That's the memento to Mr. Tomio-san, because in Japanese language, it's to call san, add a suffix san. It means sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Tomio san. It's
So
common
this
for
is
both.
the e-memento. Of course, this will be shared to you by mail also. And
And
we would like to just thank you for this as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much for this. Yes,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, sir. And I thank all the participants, my vice president, treasurer, and all the executive committee members and the industry members, whoever has attended this program. I thank you for your valuable time. And we look forward to hear from you in case of any clarifications or doubt on this session. Please feel free to mail us on andhrachamber1@gmail.com and we'll be happy to serve you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.